There we go. Okay. All right. That looks good. Okay, so I'll start here, I guess. I've been wanting to do this since the multiplayer really dropped, but since the campaign dropped, I really want to try and discuss what I think about the weapons and how they, like, where they fall in the game, because I have a lot of opinions about that. Maybe they're wrong opinions. It's very possible that I'm just flat out wrong about a lot of stuff. But it's still not working? What in the world? Hello? I have a lot of opinions about that. Maybe they're wrong opinions. It's very possible. Okay, I can't tell if this is... Okay, I think it's doing right now. Pretty sure it's doing right now. But it's like I can't get the audio and the video to work at the same time, and I can't tell if it's working properly. Doesn't make any sense. Let me see something here. Why can I not? Okay. Hello, audio test. Hello, audio test. Okay. I think it's working now. I can't promise it's working now. I have no friggin' idea if it's working now. This is literal chaos that I can't see, hear, or do anything. It's like my phone app is just plain not working. Like it'll work if I put audio only, and I don't know why. Because I've never had that problem really. Anyway, so I've been wanting to talk about the weapons and like. So I think I'm gonna do this three different ways. I'm gonna do this standard multiplayer, like vanilla settings, AR starts, I guess you could say. BR starts because the weapons, the way the sandbox works, is significantly different between the two. If it's like the exact same weapon can function super different and be more or less important in AR starts if it than BR starts, for instance, or vice versa. And then maybe I'll do one for the campaign. But okay, so let's start like regardless. AR starts, BR starts, campaign doesn't matter. The BR is S tier. It is just universally good. Works at all ranges, but it like it fails to get a super fast kill up close at close range unless you get the. I mean, it's not terrible for melees. You can do a 2-shot melee, but the time to kill is slower than actually the majority of the sandbox. Where it shines is in its ability to literally hit shots anywhere. Like this is the most crazy accurate BR I think in the history of the friggin' game. Like you can snipe people with this thing like easy. Is this thing still doing a thing? Just a second. Okay, I think it's doing right. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to go back and watch this and make sure it's not like crazy. Who knows? All right. Anyway, point is, so you like, there's very few instances where you want to drop your BR. It's like a super specific weapon combo that you need, like a shotgun sniper, or well, a bulldog sniper, something like that, rocket snipe, that might make you drop your BR. But me personally, I don't. I would rather not do that. Settling. Most people are going to want to keep their BR when they have it. And then in AR starts, you want to try to get a BR as often as possible. People make the complaint that AR starts increases your weapon variety, like what stuff you would likely use. But honestly, and this is true for most Halos, it just makes you want to go find the BR. Like the only weapon you're going to pick up more often in AR starts than in BR starts is the BR. I mean, maybe the Commando. We'll get to that in a minute. But, like, it's not like I'm going to not use the rockets or the Cinder Shot or the hammer if I have a BR, you know? Like, I'm going to use those if it's AR starts or BR starts. It's the majority of the sandbox in this game especially complements the BR instead of, people look at it really wrong. And people use a lot of canned answers for things and repeat things that other people have said before, and it's just silly. I don't know. Oh, by the way, somebody else made this list. This is the address if you want to look at it yourself. Yeah, also I looked up how to increase RAM and stuff. Anyway, it's a good thing there wasn't like some kind of crazy. Wow, could have been awkward. Let's see. All right. Cinder Shot. I'm hard pressed to not put that in S, but I'm going to put that in A tier. The fact that it's not a single shot kill is probably the only reason it's not in S tier, because the things you can do with this gun are pretty amazing. Like, this is a fantastic gun, and a lot of people just plain use it wrong. By the way, the way this tier is going to be is like, say I put something up here in front, that means it's higher on A tier. If it's lower on the, to the right. So we'll go there in a minute. So yeah, like I'm not going to dwell on the Cinder Shot too much. The zoom in feature basically turns it into an explosive sniper. But it's just a really solid grenade launcher type weapon otherwise. And a lot of people don't like the way it reloads, but if you look at it, it reloads sort of like the shotgun in past games, where you can reload a single shot at a time, or you can sit back and reload the whole magazine like one shot at a time. So if you expend your entire magazine and then boom, you're in the middle of a fight, you can back around a corner, reload one shot, and boom, shoot it again. It's actually a really, really powerful weapon and a really handy weapon, and the weird gravity effect it has actually is extremely useful too. Like it can draw people into a clump where they can't escape, and it's a good way to like isolate the close range weapons and equipment and stuff like that. People using equipment rather and stuff like that. The Bulldog. Bulldog is really freaking good, but it's not fantastic, and it's not overpowered, and it's not a weapon that you want for every situation. I think for the situations that it's good for, which is like close range, of course, using it for melees. It's actually pretty decent for cleanups. From a pretty decent range, you can at least land shots on people. I don't know. I want to put it in B. It's going to be really high B. We'll get to that in a minute. I mean, something's got to be there. I don't want to put it in A per se because of its limitations. Like, it's got 7 shots per magazine, which, if we're being honest, it would be better if there wasn't so much desync in this game. I think a lot of the weapons and a lot of the ways, like what people think about the weapons, has a lot to do with the desync in this game and how bad it is. Like, it makes weapons seem so much weaker than they really are. On that note, the Disruptor, most people don't know how to use this gun. I mean, I'm not like good with it or anything, but I've kind of practiced around, messed around with it. You have to land subsequent shots for it to do any good. I'm not going to put it in F tier. It's definitely not a great gun. It's basically just something you pick up if you don't have anything secondary. Like, you don't want to... I can't think of any of the other weapons, really, that I would want to replace with it. But it does have its uses. Like, it can EMP vehicles, and it has a damage over time effect that can get you kills, but I mean, it's kind of rare that that would come up. This is AR starts still, by the way, really. I mean, AR starts ranked kind of the same in this situation. Like, it's not a terrible secondary for the BR. It does, it does get okay cleanups when they're one shot. It just takes like 2 or 3 shots. I can't remember if it's 3, I think. Which it shoots fast enough that's okay. That works. The EMP effect on vehicles is probably its strongest and most useful ability, but I don't know. It's not great. It's not completely useless. It's not anything I would actively pick up over most of these guns, and except for maybe 1 or 2. We'll talk about that. Oh, this list has the grenades. That's nice. All right, so I'm gonna put the I can't even remember the shot grenades, whatever they're called. I'm gonna put them. They're B tier. I'm gonna put them below the Bulldog, probably low B tier. They're one of the stronger grenades in the game. Frags are really strong. I'm gonna put frags A because availability is what makes the frags more important. You're gonna get a lot of frag kills because you've always got frags. You always spawn with them. And they just are generally useful. The blast radius is pretty strong in this. Ability to bank them off walls is, of course, always useful. The shot grenades, the main thing that they're good for is area suppression. Like, you throw them into a room, and it's going to hit somebody. It might not do a ton of damage, but it's going to hit them. They're not the best thing to get cleanup kills with. I mean, they work, but they do more damage to shields than they do to health, it seems like. They're really good overall, though, because they do the EMP effect, which is great. Like, the EMP effect, you know what? I'm really tempted to put these in A tier because the EMP effect is so strong. Like, they are kind of overpowered in that regards for vehicles. I am going to put them in A. They're going to be kind of low A, but they're going to be in A. Gravity Hammer, S tier. Gravity Hammer in this game is insane. It is, like, if the Gravity Hammer is on the map on kind of say, what's that? Recharge, I think is the name of the map. It's the weapon to control. It's going to completely dominate everything on the map. It's so powerful. Like, it's almost impossible to counter a hammer inside a room. Like, you have to basically just BR them or snipe them across the map because the blast radius is so insane and the amount of damage it does is so crazy. It's definitely one of the strongest weapons in the game. And it's, even though it does have the range limitation, I'm still going to put it in S tier because it does multiple things. It can actually break shields from a sizable distance. It can deflect explosives. It can flip or straight up murder vehicles. It's extremely versatile in a way that the sword is not. And so I'm going to put it, it's going to be higher than the sword overall for that reason. Heatwave, it's good. It's really good. But I don't think it's as good as the Bulldog in terms of actual functionality. I am going to put it with the Bulldog. It's going to be in the same category because it works on vehicles very, very well. The Bulldog does not work on vehicles. The Heatwave, though, can actually pretty much murder vehicles. The horizontal shot's not super useful, except for maybe shooting vehicles or just if there's multiple enemies in a room, just shooting through them to get like a group of enemies hurt. But the horizontal shot, did I say vertical shot? The vertical shot is like fantastic. Like, it just does significant damage from a really good range. Like, I honestly think it's one of the most desync suffering weapons in the game. Like, it should be a 2-shot from a crazy amount of distance, but it usually has to be a 3 to 4 shot. But in close range, you can use it as a melee weapon, like shoot melee, or get cleanups with it. It's very versatile. The range is where it shines. But I think the Bulldog is better in terms of actual functional kill potential. Like, if you have a Bulldog, you're gonna kill some people. It's is very dominant. The what is this? The Hydra? I don't like the Hydra at all. I think the Hydra is next to useless. The only way the Hydra is any good is against the Wasp. I'm gonna put it in D, and honestly, I would rather have the Disruptor than the Hydra. Now, this is I'm trying my best not to frame any of this from just personal opinion, but I can't figure this weapon out. Like the time to kill is just so bad on it. Everything can outshoot it. You can just get melted by a sidekick or an AR before you can get three shots off of this thing, which is what it's what the damage it takes to kill somebody normal, and it has to be like direct hits. It can't really be splash damage. That's the crazy part. Like, if it had higher splash damage, like a brute shot or something, then you can make it work. But I don't know. As it stands, its only real significant use is against the Wasp and to a lesser extent other vehicles, because seems like it takes forever to kill other vehicles, but it does work for that. The Detached Turret, I'm gonna put. It's really strong, but I don't think it's. I don't know. I'm gonna put the Detached Turret in B tier. It's really really strong in this game. It doesn't show up on any of the ranked maps. Actually, I don't think it shows up on anything but like one or two of the big team maps. But I think people don't understand how powerful it is. Like, that thing melts. It is so fast, and just the ability to sustain fire for a long period of time makes it really, really powerful. I think once people start realizing how strong it really is, they'll start using it a lot more. The AR, I think, is like the perfect example of a middle ground weapon. Like, it is if it's better than the AR, it deserves to be up here. If it's worse than the AR, it deserves to be down here. That's basically my thought process. It's probably the best AR in the series, but it is what it is. I don't personally like using it, but it's okay, whatever. Mangler. I want to put this in S tier. I'm really strongly considering putting this in S tier, but I'm going to put it in A, and I'm going to put it pretty high in A because the things this thing is capable of are disgusting. It is like the perfect secondary weapon. Like, you have a BR Mangler, and you just can dominate everything. You're set for any situation. The one-shot melee is like crazy freaking strong and super fast, and dominates pretty much anything at close range except for maybe a hammer. Actually, you can outshoot a hammer. I've done it before. The fact that it does significant damage to shields with each shot, it's good for getting cleanups. It gets headshots if they're one shot. It's just an all around great weapon. Like, always pick up the Mangler. Like, I would pick up the Mangler over just about anything in this game. I think it's hard to say whether I would trade a Bulldog or a Mangler. What I would pick up if the both were just sitting there. It really is hard to say. The Bulldog has a faster time to kill, but the Mangler has more variety to it, or like more tactical uses to it. You know what? I think it's set here. I think it's good. I think I've seen people do some crazy stuff with the Mangler, and I've done some crazy stuff too. I'm gonna keep it there. If you can aim, it's good. Needler is usable, but I don't like it. I would say it's high D tier. Seems like another weapon that suffers from desync issues, and if the desync wasn't so bad, it would be really, really good. But as it stands, it's just sort of me. Plasma grenades. Actually, plasmas in this, I'm gonna put high B tier. They just don't feel strong in this. Like, they feel like, in terms of actual blast radius damage, I haven't tested this. I haven't really tried to. Feels like they just don't seem to have as much oomph as a frag, and not as much variety of uses as a shot grenade. Sticks are really harder to pull off in this game. They don't really connect like it seems like they should sometimes, but I mean, it is what it is. A sticky is still a sticky. It's not a bad thing. I would rather have, like, if I came across these two grenades, I would swap the plasma for that. is basically what it comes down to. It's like my thought process on it. And I think most people would probably agree because the shot grenade actually, I don't know. I don't want to kind of, might do that. Might do that. Plasma pistol, it's good. It works. I don't personally like it. I mean, the noob combo is the noob combo, but it's just really weak other than that. And it doesn't EMP vehicles anymore. I'm going to put it high D tier. Plasma turret is not in multiplayer, so I'm going to leave it out. Pulse carbine, I really don't like, but it isn't completely useless. So I'm going to put it in D tier. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's just, it's not, it's sort of hard to use and hard to use effectively in like its optimal way. But the main reason is it just feels so slow and inefficient in getting kills, and it's really only good for assists or as a combo with another weapon. And because of that, I just don't feel like it's such a great weapon. Like I would much rather have anything that could do the same thing but also get kills in a pinch. Like maybe I want to do a one-shot swap to a BR, like one shot with a mangler, swap to the BR to get the cleanup. Maybe I want to shoot a couple cinder shots into a room and then clean them up with, it's that kind of thing. Whereas the pulse rifle, pulse carbine, you actually have to actively think about it. I think I would put it higher than the disruptor and the Hydra, though. I think this is where we're good. I just hate the friggin' Hydra. I mean I'll be real. I'd pick up the Hydra over the disruptor. Ravager, F. It's awful. It's the worst gun in the game. It is next to useless. The literal only way that it's of any use whatsoever is to shoot them and then melee them. It's kind of fast for that, and that's it. That's it. Because it does have a melee bonus, but it's just super nerfed to the point where it's unusable. The little area effect splash thing is okay, but it's so slow to charge up that it's just not worth using. Oh, sniper. Sniper ahead of the hammer, but is it ahead of the BR? I would say yes. So the sniper's really hard to use effectively in this game because there's like no auto aim with it, very little, and no bullet magnetism. So you have to actually, what you're shooting is what you're hitting. Like you have to be really accurate with it. But I mean, and a lot of people I don't think know how to use it, so they just sort of screw up with it. But the people that do know how to use it really well and just dominate. But I mean, if you base the list off of like ease of use, then the BR and the sniper would be like B tier, and I don't know, the AR would be A tier or something, like S tier, because it's the easiest one to use. Most of these weapons can kind of kill roughly the same speed, and a lot of them from the same range and stuff. So it's all about utility and variety and like where you can go with a weapon. I would say actually that the AR's bottom B tier then, because it would be more in the middle then, wouldn't it? And I'm gonna rearrange C tier and put the plasma pistol there. All right. This is like I don't know what that turret's about. I'm gonna put that down there because I don't know. Sentinel beam, great weapon, fantastic weapon. Would I mean I would pick it up over the AR, and most people should. It's got a much faster time. It's got a less than a second time to kill, and the amount of damage it does to shields, and it kills vehicles. So I think it's better. I think it's a little better than the turret because the turret slows you down, and you don't see it much. So I think it's a good solid mid-tier B weapon. Like pick it up if you see it, but you probably don't want to pick it up over the mangler or cinder shot, that kind of thing. That's where you got to think about when you look at this list. Shock rifle. I think it's at least A tier. I'm kind of tempted to put it in S tier because the things you can do with this gun are insane. Like, I think it's going to be low S tier. I really do. Like, a lot of people might think I'm crazy for that because if you don't get the headshot and you don't get the sustained headshot, it feels like it's a really weak gun. It just feels like it just fails you. But if you can consistently get headshots with this thing, you can absolutely dominate with it. And it has the added benefit of EMPing vehicles. And you can randomly shoot stuff on the ground and it shocks people. It's just really all around handy. Oh, and it's got a melee bonus too. Even though the melee, you can't one shot to a body melee somebody. It doesn't work like that. But it does do a little extra damage, which I don't know, might come in handy. So I don't know. S tier for sure. Probably low S tier. It's like an A plus weapon kind of thing. I don't know. People don't control this like they need to. This is like a phenomenal weapon. You got to be good with it, but it's fantastic. Sidekick high S or high A tier. Let's see. I suppose if I would drop my AR if it was AR starts for the Cinder Shot, but if I was BR starts, I wouldn't have a BR Sidekick and pass up either of these weapons. Like, that's the kind of... Sidekick is great. Sidekick is overpowered in a lot of ways. It really is. Like, the amount of spammability and auto-aim and bullet magnetism it has, it's pretty disgusting what you can do with it if your connection is really good. I think it's another weapon that desync screws up too, because you'll be like, one game you'll just absolutely be melting people with it, and the next it feels like you just cannot get a kill with it, and it's because the game is just like a laggy mess sometimes. It's when it's on. If you were on LAN all the time, you would be using the Sidekick more than most weapons in this game, if not every weapon in this. It's just the weapon, really. It's so much better than the AR that it's crazy. But people still try to use the AR. I don't get it. Skewer S tier, probably above, definitely above the hammer and shock rifle. I'm gonna put it under the BR, just barely though. I mean, it's basically the laser of this game. It completely destroys individuals that it hits, and it's got that ability to kill vehicles. I think they nerfed it a little too much with the vehicle. It should. I don't see why it shouldn't kill a warthog. Maybe you just got to shoot it in the right spots, but I don't know. But you can kill wasps with it and ghosts. Actually, ghosts can tank it better than anything else. Ghosts are disgusting. I need to find one of these for vehicles. Ghosts are awesomely overpowered in this game. But anyway, Skewer, great. It has a melee bonus, but I mean, are you really going to use it for melees? I mean, I guess it comes into play sometimes where you just have to melee rather than reload, but I don't know. Spike grenades are really powerful. I'm going to put them between the frag and the shot grenade. If you throw a spike grenade into a room, they're going to get hurt. It might not put them one shot, but it's going to hit them. And the ability to, like, I've found a bunch of spots where I like to throw it and just it explodes and ricochets into the room, and it's just a really strong weapon, or a strong grenade, and it seems like it does a lot more damage to vehicles than the plasma. It really feels like it does. I need to test it. It might do the same damage. I don't know, but it seems like if you stick them with a spike grenade, you're just gonna either completely destroy them or put them in the red. It's really strong. I like the spike grenades in this game. Kind of redeemed them because they kind of suck in Halo 3. Rockets, definitely S tier, but I'm honestly going to put them lower than... I'm going to put them lower than even the shock rifle. The flight rockets would be like this. The current rockets have some sort of... And it might be desync on that too. They just don't have the oomph that I feel like they should have. Like, they just fail to launch sometimes. I don't know. Not super bad, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to put the AR at high C tier. Let's see. I think we're good. I think we're getting there. This isn't. I mean, this is. I'm kind of winging this at this point. Stalker Rifle, really, really, really good gun. It's basically the light rifle. People think of it, try to use it like the sniper or beam rifle, and it's just not anymore. It's a light rifle. You have to actually think about your shots. It does kill faster than the BR or the AR or the Sidekick, and at any range. So you definitely want to control it, and you definitely want to get good with it. That being said, it's the only sniper class weapon. These three other weapons kind of are snipers, basically. It's the only one without a one-shot kill. So it's definitely lower, but it's something you need to control. I'm going to put it at the highest point in B tier. Now, that might seem a little crazy, but if you think about it, all three of these weapons, you're going to get more kills consistently than with this. This is mostly going to be for assists. It's actually kind of hard to get cleanups with it because it doesn't do a whole lot of damage body shots. It does more damage to shields than body shots. It's technically a plasma sniper. So, sword, high A tier. I'm going to put it probably at the highest point, A tier. I don't love the sword in this game, but the sword is a sword. It's strong. It does its job, and it does its job super well. You're going to want to pick up the sword over pretty much anything else in the game that you come across, like all this stuff. It's going to be hard-pressed to not pick up the sword. So, think of it that way. Commando, they nerfed it pretty hard. I pick it up over the AR, so I would put it C, high C tier, I think. Yeah, I think that's good. Um, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Okay. So yeah, I think that's This the Commando. They just nerfed it super hard. If they would fix the body shot damage and make it just just a fraction of a second faster kill time, like it wouldn't take hardly anything. If you can get the headshot consistently, it really, really, really is a good gun. Problem is, in the heat of battle, with any kind of lag too, with any kind of desync or anything, it feels like most of your fights are just slower than if you had just whipped out the Sidekick and killed him. Like it's no match for the BR in most situations. Like super close range, you can outshoot the BR, especially if you go for melees because it's got it kills. It's like a 4-shot and a melee kills, and that happens really fast. It's like and you melee and they're done. But actually getting headshots, like the full kill, can take a little effort, a little more than you've really can safely invest without getting yourself killed. It's hard to say. I mean, I would swap the AR for it anytime. I would never swap the Sidekick for it. Like if I say a scenario, let's say, whoa, what is up? How you doing? I can't actually see who that was. Let's say that I had AR and a Sidekick, came across a shock rifle and a Commando. I would drop the AR for the shock rifle and keep my Sidekick. That's my thinking on that. That's where I'm going with that. Like, they would just complement each other a lot better. That's kind of a weird combo. I wouldn't even want a Sidekick or a shock rifle Commando. That sounds awful. Maybe in big team, if I, just every now and again, that would come in more handy because then you can put longer range shots on people. So, I don't know. I think this list is pretty much it. This is all like the special weapons from the campaign, and I don't really want to. I don't know what I would do with most of those, frankly. But maybe I'll do that another time. I think right now, though, I'm going to call it. I think this is good. So we got Sniper, BR, Skewer, Hammer, Shock Rifle, Rockets in S tier. Sword Mangler, Cinder Shot, Sidekick, 3 of the grenades except for plasma. So the shock, spike grenade, and frag in A. Stalker Rifle. You know what? Stalker Rifle's a straight up A. It's just low tier A, but it's people have got to start controlling this thing. I see people walk by it all the time. Like, pick this thing up and kill people, man, or just put shots on people. Putting shots on people with it can save teammates so often. It's crazy. Bulldog, Heatwave, Plasmas, Sentinel Beam, and the turret in B. Commando, AR, Plasma Pistol in C. Needler, Pulse, Carbine, Hydra, Disruptor in D. And then the Ravager is the only one I would actually consider F. Like, F tier is trash tier. F tier is... if I had a BR and nothing else in the second slot, I still wouldn't pick up the Ravager because it's that bad. I just do not care. Like, it would just take up space on my back. It's so awful. Like, it's not even good for cleanups. It's just not good. They nerfed it way too hard, and I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if they'll ever fix it. But anyway, that's my thoughts on all that. Yeah, if anybody agrees or disagrees, let me know. But I think I'm pretty good about reading into what is good and what's not and why. I think this is a pretty good setup. I think. Anyway, I'm sure some people will disagree, but well, alrighty. Peace out. Love you guys. This has been Mr. Wolfie.